So what I will do, I will go back to my resource group first, and I will deploy a virtual machine. Just a quick virtual machine I will deploy with default configurations. So I will create a new resource group for this one. I will say test2 because I don't have that one. And all right, test2. I'm hosting in this one in Australia East. Review and create. I'm creating a new test group, resource group, and in that resource group, I will deploy a virtual machine. So I will say add, and I will select Windows Server 2016, and I will be giving by default names like DD1 deleting because we are deleting this one. So I will select the Australia East, and I'm not taking any infrastructure here. I'm just selecting the default Windows 2016 server, and I'm providing the name, username, and password. And I'm allowing 33 RDP port, and I don't have the license. I will go by the disk. I'm not attaching any disk. I'm just going by the default disk networking. And here you can see that by default it has already been created. So I'm moving on to the management. Here also diagnostic storage has been automatically created. I will move on to advanced. I'm not even installing any extensions here, okay? Because I just want to recover what I have deleted. And I'm selecting generation 2 and tags, no tags, and review. So now the validation will take place and it will say create. So now the virtual machine has been deployed. So once the deployment is completed, I will go back to my disk and I will check the name of the disk, and I will go back to the disk category and I will take a snapshot. It's like my virtual machine is now working. I want to take a snapshot of that one because in future, if I accidentally delete that one, I can recover it from my hard disk. For that one, I will make use of the snapshot because whatever you have done, everything will be stored in that snapshot. So until the deployment of the virtual machine, until you delete, if you take any snapshot between those two incidents, after creating virtual machine and before deleting, if you have taken any snapshot, that snapshot will be stored. And from that point, you can recover your virtual machine with the help of the hard disk. So now the deployment is taking place. So let it complete. All right. So what I will do, I will have created like two test resource groups, test 1 and test 2. So we will be doing the VPNs today. So what I will do, I will create two more resource group. So one will be test group resource group 3 in the East US, review and create. And another one will be resource group test 4 in a different country. I will say West US 2. All right, so different zone. So now our deployment has been finished. So I will go back to the virtual machine now. Test group 3, test group 4, and this is the virtual machine. So now I will go to the hard disk here. See, you can see the disk name. Here is the DD1 OS operating disk. So what I will do, I will search for the disk now. I will select this one. And here I can find that one like DD1. This is the disk which I have configured now. It is showing now here attached. So that means it's in use now with the operating system Windows. And this is the 127 GB of hard disk. So what I will do, I will create a snapshot before I delete it. So whatever I have done in the machine, everything will be in that snapshot. So I will create a snapshot and I will select the resource group as test2 because my virtual machine has been deployed in that one. And I will say that SSNP2 by name, and I'm not taking any zone redundancy. So next, encryption, default encryption, tags, review and create. So now I have created a snapshot. That means since I deployed my virtual machine, what all the work has been done on that particular virtual machine, it has been recorded in this snapshot. So once this snapshot has been created, what I will do, I will go back to my resource group and delete the, so this is the snapshot created, and I will go back to my resource group, test group 2, and I will delete this virtual machine now. So this is my virtual machine. So I will say delete here. Yes. So now the virtual machine is being deleted. So accidentally I have deleted because I did not secure it by preventing any locks. I did not assign any locks. So that's why I was able to delete the virtual machine. So this was like an accidental delete. And if you want to recover it now. So now the deleting is taking place. So you can go and check it in disk. Click on the disk. And if you go to that disk, the one which we have created, click on this one. And here you can see that it is been unattached. That means the virtual machine has been successfully deleted. Okay. So now this has been unattached and I have created the snapshot, and there is something option called create a virtual machine from this hard disk. So I will click on that one and I will select the resource group, same resource group test2. I want to deploy over there. And this time I will give like different name, SS1, and I'm not selecting any infrastructure. And this is the hard disk which is using here, you can see. And I'm selecting the size here. So I will select the size like in the D series, one virtual machine, 3.5 GB of RAM, select. So I have selected this size and I'm allowing RDP port by default it is, and next. I'm not attaching any disk. And here you can see that by default it's already been taken here. New public IP address, it has been assigned. Previously it was DD1. Now it has been SS1. So next, management. So coming to the management, new diagnostic storage, it has to make a, it's using the same diagnostic resource because it is available. So that's why. So next, advanced, I'm not installing any extensions here. By default, you can see here generation 2. While creating that machine I have created for generation 2, it has been selected by default and I cannot change that one. I will say tags, review and create. So now validation has been passed. That means our machine is being successfully been recovered. So this is in a scenario whereby accidentally you did not create any locks for your resources, then only it will be by accident deleted, then you can recover by this way. But if you delete your hard disk, then you cannot recover that one. So clear?
So you can delete the virtual machine, you can recover, but any data attached to it, if it's on a different drive, you can't recover.
Yeah. So all of the data which is included. So if you have deployed a virtual machine, so you will be doing some work and everything will be saved in the hard disk, right?
Yeah.
So that what all it is there, we have the hard disk, but we don't have the operating system. That means we have deleted the machine, but not the hard disk. The hard disk consists of everything, all the operating system details.
Data. Yeah.
So that's why we were able to recover from that hard disk.
Okay, got it. So the data will be there still. You're just deleting the virtual machine.
Yes. So
Just
what
re-adding.
happens is like whenever you delete that one, the hard disk is separately extracted from that virtual machine and kept like that.
Okay, okay, got it.
It will be ready for you. So now the virtual machine is back and up and running. So you can now configure like same username and password. You can use it and you can log into it. So clear about recovering the virtual machine with hard disk. So what I will do, I will go ahead and delete this one because we don't need this one. So make a practice while doing, if you are doing any practice, so you should be have an habit of like deleting every time. So now what I will do, we will move forward with the VNet peering. So I have created two resource group for that one. So one is test 3 and test 4. So now what I'm going to do, so the concept of the VNet peering is that this resource group is of 10 network, okay? And this resource group of 20 network. And I want to connect, and I want to have something in between this one that will connect me from 10 network to 20 network. Because we don't have any routers here in between who can do the routing for them. And we don't have any firewall by which we can do the routing or something. So that's why in Azure, we have something called VNet peering. Once we have done this VNet peering will allow them to connect with each other. It will act as a router between that one. And from 10 network to 20 network, you can communicate. If you give permission from 20 network to 10 network to communicate, they can communicate. So we will configure that one now. So I have created two resource groups and I'm going to deploy here with one virtual network with 10 network. So I will select the virtual network and I will say create. And I will be selecting in test group 3 name as VR3. And I will select the name. I think this one was in East US. So I will select the same East US. And IP addresses, I will be taking only 10 network, okay? And I'm not providing any default subnet because we are not getting into that one. I'm just providing the connectivity between 10 network, between one virtual network to another virtual network. So now this is the 10 subnet, okay? You can see it here. So I will click next. I'm going with the basics. Tags, I'm not providing any tags for this one. Review and create. So now the virtual network will be created with 10 subnet. So now I will go ahead with the resource group test group 4 here. And I will also create one more virtual network here by 20 subnet. So I will say add here. And after that, I will search for virtual network. And I will say create. So now our virtual network has been created in test group 3. And I'm going to create in the resource group 4. So we are 4. And this one was like West US 2. So I will select that one. IP addresses. And this time what I will do, I will delete this one. And I will totally change to 20.network, okay? So now that is different and this is different, totally different subnets. Now security. All right, next text, review and create. Okay, information provided is missing. In which one? We go for the basics, nothing is. So, okay, we did not add any subnet. So subnet 1. So what I will do, I will give the subnet /24. Okay. So once I add the subnet, everything is okay. And I will say review and create. It will run the validation and create. So now what I have done, two different resource group in different regions and two different subnets virtual networks. So I want to communicate between these two now. Right. Okay, done. So I will go to V4 or I can go for virtual network 3, any of that. And there is something called on the left hand side peering. Okay. So currently I am connecting from VNet 4, virtual network 4 in the resource group test 4. So I will select peering. There is no connection here. So I will say create add, and you have to give the same name here, VR4, because we are connecting from 4 to 3. And I am selecting here V and VR3 here. And I'm providing a name for them like VNet peering. And see here, allow virtual machine network access from VR4 to VR3, from 4 to 3, and I'm also allowing from 3 to 4. If you have configured any forwarded traffic like diverted traffic, then if you want to enable, you can enable. That traffic also will be allowed. Otherwise, it won't be allowed. So I'm enabling both of them. If you have any gateway, if you select this one, it will allow that gateway. It means like VPN connection. But currently I don't have any VPN connection, so I'm not selecting this one. So VNet peering, so we will be saying that from VNet 4, I want to configure to VNet 3, and I am giving the name VP. I'm enabling traffic from both sides, like they can communicate with each other. I'm not saying that only VNet from 4 to 3 they can come, and from 3 to 4 they cannot go. So you can set it according to your requirement, but I am enabling both of them. So next, okay. That's it. Now it will be deploying that connection between those two virtual networks. So now what happens is like whenever now if you deploy any virtual machines in both of these resources, now the connection has been done. They can communicate with each other. So now if you deploy any virtual machine from here to here, it's like this one will be having the IP address like 10 dot network, and this one will be having the 20 dot network. But after creating the VNet peering, these two machines can communicate with each other.
So that that was automatically done by the
That will
Azure,
be
right?
automatically done by that. You just need to create a VNet peering between them, saying that from I want to connect from VNet 4. Now you can see the status is connected status. And I'm saying that from VNet 4 to VNet 3, I want interchange of the traffic. I want to communicate between both of them. I'm not saying that I want to only communicate from 4 to 3. I'm not allowing from 3 to 4. It's up to you. You can. And you can say that gateway transit is disabled because no VPNs have been configured.
Okay. And why on that other one you needed to add that extra subnet on that? Because you gave the already CIDCR system, right, in the /16.
Yes.
But but you had to create another one for like a /24.
It will use that subnet. It will provide that. See, in 16 we have like a lot of IP addresses, but you will create different subnets within that IP address, so that it will assign IP address from that subnet.
Oh,
so that
so it is a requirement also.
Yeah, /16 is like whole lot of bunch of addresses.
Yes.
Within that you have to create different subnets. That's compulsory. You have to create that subnet.
Okay.
So by default you cannot allocate from that IP address, but you have to break that one.
Okay.
So now clear about the VNet peering.
Yeah.
So what I will do, I will go back to my resource group 3, resource group test 3. So in this one now I will create VPN site to site. Right. So now the VNet has I will click on add and I will search for something called virtual network gateway. And I will say create. And I will give them as a virtual network gateway 3. And this one was in East US. I'm configuring the same region. And here I'm selecting VPN, not express route. So express route is a little bit different. So we will come after this one. So gateway type is VPN. And VPN type is route based, not policy based. Policy based are different, because if you are good with policies, then you can go ahead with the policies. But recommendation is that you should have like go with the routed base. It will be very easy. So generation 1, that's the only generation latest machines like configuration we have for now. Virtual network, I am selecting V3. I am creating the VPN for virtual network 3. So the subnet has been automatically selected here. Now the public IP address, I am creating a new public IP address so that I can provide for the another company or another company's network engineer my details. I want to configure that one. So what I will do, I will give a new name that might be virtual network public address. And here you can see that active. If you want to enable active, then you have to have a 2 IP addresses. Or if you want to disable it, you can disable it. For demo purpose, I'm just going with the normal VPN. If you have configured the BGP, then you can provide the ASN, autonomous system number here, ASN number, you can provide here. So currently we don't even have the BGP. So next tags, review and create, validation will take place. Once the validation has been passed, you can select create. So now the VPN has been created from your side only. It's a half configuration. So now we have to give a connection. So it's like you have just said your virtual network that I am creating a VPN. So these are the details. So once that VPN has been created, we will go into that VPN and we will provide the connection details to that VPN. So for connection details, what we have to do, we have to provide the end user public IP address, right? The connectivity address. So there is something called local network gateway. So local network gateway. So you have to create a new one. So I will say add. So here I will give like moiz because I will be giving my IP address here. I'll go to the Google and what's my IP, and this is my IP address for today. So I will select this one and I will provide. So here what you will be doing, while creating the local network gateway, you will be giving the one which you want to create the VPN IP address. So the another party. So you are the first party. So you have to give the second party public IP address here, or whatever the IP address you want to give. But you have to make sure that you should be able to communicate to that IP address. That's mandatory. So if you want to configure BGP, still you have the option to configure BGP here.
Just wanted to ask one thing, those, like when we implement those VPN, like, isn't it like a VPN, we can use one of those softwares like a Cisco AnyConnect or extra net extender or something like that,
Yeah,
and they can.
But if you go with the Cisco and all those things, they will cost you the money, right, for the licenses and all those things. But here in Azure, we do have like inbuilt ones.
Okay.
So I'm coming to that one. So once I provided the second party public IP address or the IP address which I can able to communicate. So I have the resource group, like I'm providing all this information in the test group 3 VPN. And here you can see that location is West US 2. So now create. So what I have done, I have created a VPN, and separately I have created a local network gateway. That means I am giving the second party communication IP address for them. So now these are like two different categories. So I want to make it attached to it. I want to attach local network gateway to my VPN. So my VPN doesn't know that way to whom to communicate. What should I do the communication? What is my like shared key? Whether it might be IKE version 1 or IKE version 2. So my VPN doesn't know any detail. So what I have to do, I have to provide those details. So I will go back to my resource group and I will select the test group 3 where I have created the VPN. So this is my VPN, virtual network gateway. I will click on that one and I will go to the connections on the left hand side. So I will say add here. So now I will give the name like moiz PB. And here you have three options. One is like VNET to VNET. What we have done like peering now, communication between one virtual network to second virtual network. But that traffic is not encrypted. That is like plain traffic. So everyone, if you configure the Wireshark on that one, you are able to see the traffic, what kind of traffic they are sending or communication is taking place between those two virtual networks. So you can create the VPN for that one too, or if you want to create the side-to-side VPN. But we are interested in side-to-side VPN because we want to configure the VPN between two different companies. So one is in the Azure, another might be on premises or might be on Azure, we don't know. But we are not interested whether they are on premises or anything. So now I have given side-to-side VPN. I'm selecting, so I am providing the local network gateway. Here I am providing my public IP address, the second party public IP address. And here is the shared key where I will be providing the shared key. And here I am providing the protocol IKE version 2. So now clear? So now what you will be doing, you will be sharing these details with the network engineer of the another company from whom you want to create the VPN. So the network engineer will be configuring, might be the Cisco router. So he will be configuring the side-to-side VPN with shared key Cisco 123, and IKE version protocol will be IKE version 2. So if you are using IKE version 2 means Cisco router 7200 series. So I will say, okay. So you have to forward these all the details to that network engineer. He will configure from his side. From your side, it's all been done. So this is how you will be connecting the side-to-side VPN. Retrievable error record. Right, still the deployment is in process. Let's see. So now, until this deployment is being done, so we will be looking into the express route. So now what is express route? We know that side-to-side VPN is a direct communication between VPN from one company to another company. This is the side-to-side VPN. That's a straightforward. All right. So now what? Express route. This is our Azure now. So we will be creating the VPN. And the third party will be included here. Like if I am in Australia, the Telstra Corporation will be there. They will be providing a tunnel for you. So in Azure, you will be creating this tunnel. Definitely, you will be providing the company details and all those things. And you have to contact your particular circuit tunnel person or company to configure the settings and all those things. And they will configure for you, or by default in Azure, you can configure that one too. So it will directly charge you. No need to go to this particular company and all those things. By default, it will charge you. So what happens with the circuit route is that whenever the client is here and you have created a VPN for him, this client, so whenever the client wants to connect to your Azure virtual machine here, he has a direct access to this tunnel. So whenever he communicate with this tunnel, with no waiting time, he is just allowed. Once the authentication takes place, he is authenticated. With no reason, he will be allowed inside. The connection will be so speed that within seconds he will be there. So sometimes what happens is like communication will take time, and again the communication, the traffic will be redirected and all those things. But the circuit, you have only one, and only one benefit is that within no time it will, once authentication has been done, within no time he will be communicating with his virtual machine on Azure or the resource which he has a permission to it. So clear about that one? The only thing is that in a normal VPN, we do have a tunnel here, but it will be going through the internet. Here you have a separate line for that one. So clear?
So for the client, what kind of IP address or where they will log into? Like what will be their access point, or which IP address?
Yes, when they are coming with the like particular company, they do have like Cisco AnyConnect. So these companies also will have some kind of software through which they can easily connect. Same like AnyConnect only. But the only thing is that middle person is Cisco. Cisco is same as Cisco. Like one router is here, you are doing AnyConnect here. So Cisco is in between, right?
Yes.
Exactly the same scenario here. So we are calling that one as a circuit. That's it. Same scenario. So now I will go ahead and create that one. So still the deployment is taking place, the VPN, side-to-side VPN. So what I will do, I will go back to my resource group and I will go back to my test group 4. I did not get any VPN here. So what I will do, I will create a VPN here. And I say like virtual network gateway, same. And this time, instead of side to side, I will select the circuit one, express route. So VNET gateway 4. And this one will be, I think, West US 2. And this time I'm selecting express route. I'm selecting the SKU standard. I'm selecting the VR4. See, you can see that subnet is 20. I'm selecting the public IP address name like VRPB4. That's it. Assignment by default is dynamic because the IP address will be automatically changing. So now I need to provide the circuit details for this VPN now. To create a circuit, we go back here. You have something called as express route circuit. Express route circuit. Click on that one. So here you can create. So I am providing the circuit name as VR4CR. And provider, select your provider like Airtel, anything, ATT or something. But I'm going with Telstra because that's in Australia. So where is that one? Yep, Telstra Corporation. Peering. So if you select your company, they are like different location. I'm in Melbourne, so I select Melbourne. And bandwidth, at least it should be 1 GB. Just make sure that it's 1 GB. And SKU, if you select standard, the charges are different. Premium, the charges are different. But billing model should be like unlimited. If it's meter, it will be charging you more. Or you can like restrict that traffic. But now resource group is, this one is in test group 4. And the location is Westgate US2, right? West US2. So now I have created the circuit and I've also created the express route VPN. I just need to give the information to my VPN saying that this is the circuit. Whenever anyone comes to this circuit, just give permission to access this particular resource. That's it. So what I will do, I will go back to my resource group, test group 4. And VPN deployment, I think, still going on. So this is the VPN which we have created. So test group 4 VPN done. Okay. So now I will go to the connection now, same, and I will say add here, and I will give the name like VR EX express route, and connection type I will be selecting express route, and here I will select the circuit which I have created, test group 4. So the deployment is not been yet finished, so that's why it's unable to provide me the details. So we have to wait for that one to complete the deployment. So once the deployment has been finished with the circuit, I will choose the circuit here. Okay. So once I provide the circuit details here, the next thing will be resource group. If you want to deploy this type of connection in different resource group, you can select, otherwise no. But once you select OK, your charges will start. So clear about the side-to-side VPN and express route?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not creating this one because it will be charging me right away. So I will do a disconnection. So this was about the like virtual network VNet to VNet peering. We did like a recovering of a virtual machine from the hard disk and side-to-side VPN and express route.